As a boy, Mike Noon had one ambition.
Mr. Big Time Studley Entertainer, you know.
But he had a problem.
I get very paranoid. Like, sometimes when I walk out on stage, I have this terrible feeling that I'm being watched.
Still, the crowds loved him.
And guys got up and ripped the clothes off, and women threw money. And yeah,
but fame has its price.
Yes, my wife ran off with my girlfriend.
Mike Noon returns to public TV to prove once and for all that nice guys are hiding something. Mike Noon, he only looks normal.
A whiff of smog puts me in the mood. Helicopters are spraying today. I can't wait to go out and play. Warning. The following program has been modified to fit the attention span of an average television audience. We're talking public television. We're talking about commercial television. I'll be playing this instrument, which I learned from the master, Harmonica Lewinsky. No, aerobics is a woman's thing. It is. Because there's no way to keep score. We'll also include his work song for the 90s. Let's go to Mexico and visit my job. Oh. Thank you. I'm going to start off with an old song. I know we've got some older people in the crowd. Sometimes they ask for old songs, and this is one. This is from ancient Rome. It's off an album I did entirely in Latin. It's going for the Catholic audience. But I'd like to start with my ancient Roman song. In ancient Rome, there lived a legionnaire, handsome as a god, suave and debonair, always full of mischief. He broke a lot of hearts, then he got in trouble. That's where my story starts. You've all heard of Julius Caesar, but who remembers his cousin? The outcast of the family. Hated politics, hated war, loved parties. His name, Frivolous Maximus. One night he got drunk, painted graffiti on the Colosseum. He painted things like, "Go Christians." For a good time, call Cleopatra. Caligula wears see-through togas. Then he staggered through Rome singing sacrilegious songs like Who Goose Zeus. Let's name a salad after Caesar. He was caught and banished to a tiny outpost. An outpost with no wine, no women, no music. It's a lot like Ritzville. Once again, people all over the country are wondering, why are they laughing at me? Tiny outpost, and there he was captured by Amazons. Amazons, fierce fighting women, known for their virtue. To guard against temptation, they wore armor with big locks on it. But one of the Amazons, Louise the Loose, thought virtue was a stupid concept. She was user-friendly. But one night she crept into his cell and whispered in his ear, "Left 27, right 4, left 13. It was a glorious night. The next morning she wrote graffiti on the walls. She wrote things like, "Alexander, wasn't that great?" Nero is a zero. Sadly, 2 days later, she came down with Legionnaire's disease. Frivolous nursed her back to health. They got married, had 17 beautiful children. One of Louise's daughters grew up to be a famous publisher in Rome, Claire Booth Luce. They were the greatest lovers the world has ever seen. On their shield was their motto, left 27, right 4, left 13. Great to be back. This is just a beautiful theater. I love it here. I love doing these shows. I love wearing comfortable clothes. They don't put a lot of pressure on me to dress up on these shows, and I appreciate that because I work in a lot of venues where I have to dress up, and anything, tuxedos. I wear tuxedos, and I just feel terribly uncomfortable and kind of phony because I'm not really a tuxedo guy. I live in Suquamish, Washington, and you wear a tuxedo in Suquamish, and people think it's Halloween. I've decided my role in life, fashion-wise, is to make everyone else feel good about their clothes. I mean, tonight, right now, I bet a lot of you are looking at me and saying, compared to him, I've dressed pretty well. I had to face my life in fashion. I've got no passion for high fashion. I'll just go with the low. If you want to punish me, send me to a fashion show. GQ cannot stand me. I can't wear Armani suits. Elsa Clinch puts me on the bench. Valley won't sell me boots. I kind of resent being bossed around by fashion people, you know, because every year they come up with something new and you have to go buy it, like your wardrobe is out of date. And they come up with new things that aren't new. I mean, like earth tones. Remember earth tones? That was a big deal. Those aren't new. Those are what you get when you wash all your clothes in the same load. Right? Bachelors have been wearing earth tones for years. The layered look. That comes around about every 10 years. The layered look. We all had that when we were little kids. Remember, in a cold winter morning, your mama put you in the layered look. You'd have about 15 layers. Couldn't move your arms or legs. You'd walk out like RoboCop. It's the first time in your life when you could say, "Help, I've fallen down and I can't get up." And now young guys are wearing those real tight black suits and the big clunky shoes. And that's like the latest in fashion. Except that Herman Munster had it 30 years ago. So I'm rebelling against fashion. I've organized a group of militant anti-fascionists. What we do is make up non-existent designers and then watch people go crazy trying to find them. It's great. I go into a party and I say, "Oh yeah, this jacket is by Fernando Valenzuela. Pants are by Aristophanes. Shirt is by Dun and Bradstreet. Got Foster Dulles eyeglasses. My watch is Philippe Lou. My underwear is Calvin and Hobbes." Yeah, it's the new neo-post-retro Art Deco Rococo look. Everyone's wearing it. You know we're not going to win. I mean, fashion people, they always win, and so I'm hedging my bets. I am wearing designer underwear. I am. So if they win, I'm going to tell them I was working undercover. So if you're feeling dowdy, I'll make you the star of the show. 'Cause I've got no passion for high fashion. I'll just go with the low. And now, friends, Late Night Rip-Off Records presents the greatest country singer ever to come out of Newark, New Jersey. In fact, he's the only country singer ever to come out of Newark, New Jersey. Part Italian, part Irish, part redneck. It's Vito Bob O'Shaughnessy. Yes, who can forget Vito Bob's songs of lost love? Songs like, "Open up your heart and let me out." For his big hit, "A Wonder Bra and a Mini Skirt led me to a world of hurt." How about his songs for the bitterly divorced? "I'm going to put your attorney on a gurney." Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or his tribute to American justice. "I'd rather be rich than innocent." Yes, friends, these albums are not... These albums are not sold in stores. If we could sell them in stores, we wouldn't have to hustle them on late-night television. You order right now will include his song about lonely middle age. "I'm too old for singles bars and too young for bingo." We'll also include his work song for the 90s. "Let's go to Mexico and visit my job." Order now. Use our easy internet address, cd.com/burn:, page up, page down, Vito Bob hits. Or better yet, call 1-900-GOTCHA. You may not buy the album, but we'll stick you for the call. If you order right away, we'll include the greatest love song he ever wrote. "You are the wings above my wind." Vito Bob's greatest hits. Thank you. I'm going to play the harmonica now. As always, I've been bombarded with requests to play the old harmonica. Some of you may not know this. I've explained it before. Some of you weren't here. There are two ways to play the harmonica. One is the old cowboy method, which sounds like this. And the other is to play the blues, which sounds like this. I've been traveling since the world began, and I have taken 1,000 trips, and I have gathered some traveling tips. Now, these are tips for advanced travelers, people who have been beyond Moses Lake. First of all, nature watching. The first rule of nature watching is nothing is going to happen while you are watching. I learned this up in Glacier Bay, Alaska. Have you ever been up to Glacier Bay? Spectacular. It's just gorgeous up there. And these huge glaciers come down to the water, and huge chunks of ice break off. This is icebergs, literally break off, and it's one of nature's most spectacular sights. And I was there on a ship, and I stood and watched that glacier for an hour and a half, and nothing happened. An hour and a half staring at a big chunk of ice, and finally I thought, well, I'll get a cup of coffee. And no sooner did I get out of sight of that glacier than people started screaming. They said, whoa, did you see that? Piece of ice as big as the Empire State Building just crashed into the water. 13 polar bears ran across it. They were attacked by giant tufted puffins. The greatest sight I've ever seen in my life. I can die happy. And I rushed back to the rail, and there was nothing. Just little ripples in the water. When that happens, there's nothing to do. Just lie. Just say, oh, yeah, I saw it. It was wonderful. Yeah. Got video of it, but a killer whale leapt up and ate my camera. Did you see it? I'm a traveling man. Traveling man. And I've been traveling since the world began. If you go to Europe and you go on tours, you are going to see cathedrals and castles. After about 200 cathedrals and castles, you might want to join a group I belong to, Cathedrals and Castles Anonymous. Then when you get the urge to see another one, you call them up and they'll talk you down. They work for me. I'm the only guy that walked into the Sistine Chapel and said, whoa, look at that floor. I'm a traveling man. A traveling man. Some quick travel tips. If you go to a restaurant anywhere in the world, look out the back door, see them filling Evian bottles out of the hose tap, don't eat there. Remember, Evian spelled backwards is naive. If you go to Egypt and you go to the pyramids, don't get on the camels. Costs $5 to get on, $20 to get off. You go to Vietnam, 3 good words to remember. Hi, I'm Canadian. Traveling man. Traveling man. Some places to go you may not have thought of. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's a fun place, and it's also the only place in the world that has cobblestone streets with speed bumps. I swear to God. If you're looking for adventure and excitement, go to Lima, Peru. It's the only place I ever saw a guy with a machine gun guarding a McDonald's. If you go to the Caribbean, go to Virgin Gorda. There's no particular reason to go there. I just love that name. If you had a virgin, would you name her Gorda? And finally, come over to Seattle, Washington, near where I live. It's a wonderful city, great place to visit. Although last year we had a huge UFO scare. I mean, people were just panicked in the streets, screaming, and then someone figured out it was the sun. I'm a traveler man. Have you ever met someone who just blows you away intellectually? Someone that's just so far beyond you, it's just kind of humbling. I met a guy like that recently, and he was like amazing. He'd written 17 books, and he won the Pulitzer Prize, and he spoke 6 different languages, and he's just awesome. And I just felt very small beside him. I was like Forrest Gump at a Mensa convention. No chance. And I started going over my credits, and they're not that big. You know, I won a ping pong tournament in the 7th grade. And I can do the New York Times crossword puzzle in just under 7 days. And I do my own laundry. And that's about it. And I was feeling pretty humble. And then I thought, wait a minute. If you took a woman and said, we've got 2 men here. One of them's written 17 books, won the Pulitzer Prize. The other one does his own laundry. Which one do you think she's going to take? I'm the laundromat stud. I'm the guy that excites. Women scream for my colors and whites. I'm the Duke of Detergent, the Baron of Bleach. The heck with singles, bars, or the beach. I've got suds in my blood. I'm the laundromat stud. I hear those women talking behind my back at a laundromat. I hear them saying, whoa, he uses the delicate cycle. He never has an unbalanced load. He never dyes his tube socks pink. He's the man of my dreams. And I knew it was just a matter of time before I met the woman of my dreams. And one night there she was. It was magic. We cleaned our lint traps together. Our hearts beat to the rhythm of the spin cycle. Our hands touched as we fold our T-shirts. And I knew it was love, true love. And then I found out the horrible truth. She'd written 17 books and won a Pulitzer Prize. Felt about as stupid as Elmer Fudd, but I didn't care. Because I'm the laundromat stud. The job market is very strange these days. A lot of my friends are bouncing from job to job. There seems to be not a lot of security. And a lot of my friends are sending out resumes. And it's tough to send out a resume when you're desperate for work, because that desperation creeps into the resume, and you probably won't get hired. And I think the time to send out a resume is when you've got work. And then you're confident, and then you can put anything into it because you don't care. And I've got quite a bit of work lined up and so I'm sending out resumes. And I'm having a great time because you can just put anything you want into them. And this is one I sent to Microsoft because I don't care if I ever work for Microsoft, and they don't care either. So it's kind of a win-win situation. I just thought I'd read it. Dear Microsoft, I understand your people work 18-hour days and skip weekends. This could be a problem for me because I work 4-hour days and start partying on Thursday. I spent 10 years in college and changed majors 37 times. I didn't graduate, but I did learn 300 drinking songs. After that, I drove for Domino's Pizza until an unfortunate accident with the Brinks truck. I shouldn't have pulled my gun, but I thought they were trying to steal my pizzas. Then I got a job driving bulldozer until the day I got reverse and forward mixed up. Became the first person to actually knock over a liquor store. And I worked for a while as an airline's baggage handler, but they fired me when they caught me being gentle. I also worked in a gas station, and I still don't think the explosion was my fault. I come from a stable family. My parents were in the same institution for 28 years. I don't have any bad work habits because I've never worked long enough to develop any. I've never been involved with drugs, as I found liquor handled all my needs. And I love pets. I have a dog who was formerly known as Prince. A rock and roll joke. I keep it in. We got a lot of heavy metal people in this audience. As for the sexual harassment suits, don't worry. My attorney says I can beat them. I hope so, because my attorney's a hot-looking chick. I'd like to work for your company because you don't have to dress up. In prison, we had to wear the same clothes every day. It drove me crazy. Hoping to hear from you, Mike. A lot of people are wondering how much money I'm making on these shows. And the answer is big bucks. Big bucks. Newt Gingrich knew how much I was making on this show. He would freak out. I don't want to mention any figures, but one more show like this, and this guitar will be mine. Right now, the bank owns half of it. I can't play above this fret here. That's all the bank's there. I play down here. Doesn't matter. I never played up there anyway. It's all dusty up there. I started worrying about money. You know, money is a big deal. And I've met a lot of retired people lately. And you know what scares me? I have never met a retired comedian. It just scares me to death. And luckily, I had some help when I was young. My dad took me aside one day, had something important to say. Said, money is the acid test, so invest, invest, invest. I listened to his wise advice, and I'm willing to pay the price. My portfolio's doing fine. I can retire when I'm 99. Yes, when I'm 99, I'll be on easy street. Money pouring in, my life will be complete. Till then, I'll be working. Each day I'll rise and shine. But I know I'll be rolling in dough when I'm 99. Yeah, I've been investing. I'm kind of on a roll now. I've got some good things going. I invested in a chain of liquor stores in Saudi Arabia. Chewing gum factory in Singapore. I invested in a company that makes stomach pads for cowboys so they don't get hurt by those big belt buckles. Yeah, I'm heavily into unnatural gas. Artificial organs for churches. Invested in a company that's making laptop microwaves. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Got a string of crocodile petting zoos. Got a company that's making fertility drugs for rabbits. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking you want me as your financial advisor. You want to get on the old bandwagon. I can't blame you. I've got some opportunities for you. Yeah, I've got some retirement property on the sun. It's hot, but it's a dry heat. I've got a new weight loss method that involves drinking Mexican water. I tried it myself this year. I lost 20 pounds in 2 days. So send that money into me. You have my personal guarantee. I'll pump up that bottom line. You can retire when you're 99. Everyone's attacking government these days. It's a very popular thing to attack government, to blame it for just about everything, and take an absolute fool to stand up and defend government in this political situation. And if you look at my job description, absolute fool is right there in that first paragraph. So today, in the court of hostile public opinion, I will attempt to defend our government. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, people say free enterprise always does a better job than government. These are people who have never put luggage on airplanes. If the post office handled luggage, I'd go with them. People say the government spends millions of dollars on stupid things. But I'll tell you one thing, the government has never spent $100 million on a basketball player. For that kind of money, our government could get 2 or 3 toilet seats and a hammer. Now, I've worked in free enterprise all my life. That's what I do. I sell shows. But, boy, if free enterprise ran the government, president would be making $30 million a year, Congress would be run by temporary workers, and arts funding would be in the hands of people who gave you Jerry Springer. If free enterprise ran the CIA, it would not be accountable to the people. So there wouldn't be any change there. The government never puts out X-rated movies. No, it's private enterprise that puts out X-rated movies. You never see Debbie Does the Department of the Interior. I'll tell you something else. The government never brings a professional football team to your town and then threatens to leave if free enterprise doesn't build them a stadium. I believe in free enterprise, but people that think it's always better than government are people who have never bought a used car, never put money in a savings and loan, or watch kids shows on commercial television. We got to be fair here. For every Amtrak, there is a value jet. And finally, the government does one thing better than free enterprise ever will. It gives us better scandals. If it weren't for government scandals, half the free press in this country would be out of business in a week. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we need our government. Thank you. I love sports. I've always loved sports, and I love to play them, and I feel fairly coordinated. I'm not a great athlete, but I'm okay. You know, I can... And until I get into an aerobics class. Now, I want to talk to the men here. When you get into an aerobics class, do you feel like your arms have never been introduced to your legs? It's just embarrassing, because they all start out with leg things. You know, they're going like step up, step down, and grapevine, and knee lifts, and all this. And I'm doing just fine. I'm trucking right along. And then they say, okay, let's add some arms. And the arms are going in totally different directions from the legs. Legs are going up and down, the arms are going in and out, and I just fall apart. I mean, I'm like Big Bird out there. I mean, and women seem to have no problem with that. They're just going, yeah, well, you know, aerobics is a woman's thing. It is. Because there's no way to keep score. How do you know if you've won? I mean, but it got to me. It was right. I had to go for therapy. I went to aerobotherapy. Talked to an aerobotherapist, and I discovered I had aerobophobia. The fear of making a fool of myself in a room full of mirrors. I had to join a group. We've got a group of aerobically challenged men. It's a 12-step program. Step up, step down, grapevine. And every day we sing our song. We're robophobics, filled with trepidation. Robophobics with no coordination. Give us a ball or a racket, we can always hack it. But we have to pass on aerobics class. It fills us with fright. Aerobophobes unite. I feel stupid right off the bat because I walk in, I'm wearing shorts and a T-shirt. Everyone else is wearing those bodysuits and French-cut leotards. And the only people who look good in those are people who don't need aerobics. We want a class where everyone's wearing overcoats and snowshoes. And we all look stupid and we get a better workout. And the object of the exercise is to get your heart rate up, right? There are easier ways to do that. Walk through downtown Detroit wearing a Rolex late at night. You will have an aerobic experience. But we men have found a new form of exercise, a manly form of exercise. I'm going to let you in on it now. We learned it from our dogs, called sleeper size. You've all seen it. The dogs are sound asleep, and their legs are going, and their bodies are twitching, and they're moving. People think they're dreaming of chasing rabbits. They're not. They're dreaming of a dog aerobics class. A bunch of dogs in overcoats and snowshoes. And then when they wake up, they're done. And then they can lie around all day. Give them a remote control and a couple football games, they could be guys. So now every night before we go to sleep, we eat a big pizza with everything. Then we spend the night tossing and turning, thrashing around. When we wake up, our workout is complete. The wives aren't that enthused. Apparently the barking bothers them. But we don't care, because we can pass on aerobics class. It fills us with fright. Aerobophobes unite. Brave souls used to sail the seven seas, face angry savages, battle dread disease. There's just one challenge left, one we can't refuse. The horror, the terror, the dreaded nightly news. The news, the news, it keeps coming faster. Every day and every night we face a new disaster. War, explosions, crashes, whole cities swept away. Nothing like the news to brighten up your day. The news. Ever get the feeling that watching the nightly news is like stopping to look at an accident? It is the same mentality. It's the opposite of Prozac. Terminally depressed, take Prozac. Terminally cheerful, watch the news. It will bring you down. And we're the only species on Earth that watches the news. You ever thought about that? I mean, pigeons in Spokane don't have a clue what pigeons are doing in China. They get along just fine. We've got to know, and I don't know why, because it's always the same. It never changes. I haven't seen the news tonight, but I can tell you exactly what's on it. I guarantee what's on it. First, there's going to be a crash. Something big has crashed. I don't know what it is, but it's a big crash. And then there's going to be a crisis in the Middle East. Ooh, what a surprise. There's been a crisis in the Middle East for about 3,000 years. I think it'd be news if there weren't a crisis in the Middle East. There's going to be a natural disaster, something, fire, flood, explosion, earthquake. And finally, there's going to be a scandal involving politicians. Another big surprise. I don't even watch that stuff anymore. I just look for the little stories. The little stories are great. There was one a while ago where a guy got bitten by a shark, and a woman on the beach used dental floss to tie off his arteries and save his life. My question is, who takes dental floss to the beach? Want to play volleyball? No thanks, I'm flossing. Last Christmas, Ted Kaczynski sent Christmas cards to his lawyers and all their families. Wouldn't that brighten up your holidays? Oh, goody, a letter from the Unabomber. How'd you spend Christmas? In a bunker? The Pathfinder mission to Mars is over. I love that thing. I love the vehicle up on Mars. That was so cute, wasn't it? It was like a little toy, just running around bumping into rocks and stuff. I love that. Someday creatures from other planets will come to Mars, and they'll see that and they'll say, hey, they've got kids here. And my favorite was the guy who was working on his airplane, and he spun the propeller and the engine caught, and the plane took off without him. Remember that? Flew for 2 hours with nobody on it. And then it crashed into a field. Luckily, there was a woman there with dental floss. Put it back together. The news. It keeps coming faster. Every day and every night we face a new disaster. And then come the commercials. They don't drive you nutty. They hit you with the big one. A scientific study. Something new that will wreck your lives. Bingo causes sterility. Scientists have found that bingo players have less babies than other people. Critics point out the average age of bingo players is 72. The news, it really is a curse. No matter how bad your day is, the news can make it worse. When you're sad, you sing the blues. What do you sing when you're happy? There's been a big debate about this. Some people think it's the yellows or the oranges or the greens. I have a friend who sings the reds. He loves red. Red's a beautiful color. It's a Chinese color of good luck. It's a gypsy color of health and happiness. And just the other day, he's one of these happy guys, and I heard him singing the reds. My doctor just told me my cholesterol's too low. Got to eat more ice cream. Fiber's got to go. The airline computers have this quirky little blip that make them give me upgrades. Every time I take a trip, I got a terrible haircut. I didn't know what to do. A photographer saw it. I made the cover of GQ. Guy tried to mug me, put a knife to my back. Before he could use it, he had a heart attack. I've got the reds, baby. I'm rolling in success. If life gets any better, I could die of happiness. My gray hair's turning black. My hearing's more acute. That jerk in the office just got transferred to Beirut. My bald spot's disappearing. My stomach's getting flat. My debts are getting thin. My personal trainer's getting fat. I've got the reds, baby. I'm on a roll. Meg Ryan thinks I'm sexy. B.B. King says I've got soul. You ever met people like that? People are just too happy. I mean, there's only so much happiness in the world, and some people are hogging it. This is one of those guys. I mean, he never sits next to the screaming baby on airplanes. He's one of those guys who could walk into a sleazy bar, come out with a beautiful, intelligent woman with a trust fund. I can walk into church and come out with Tanya Harding. Not fair. This guy needed some balance in his life. He needed some pain and misery. And sure enough, next time I saw him, he was singing the blues. My boss fired me, shocked me through and through. My life was shattered. I didn't know what to do. I ended up in a cold, drafty loft. Found some old papers. It was stock in Microsoft. So I bought my old company with some of that new dough. Called in my ex-boss and said, we've got to let you go. Now he's in the loft and I'm in feather beds. He's got the blues, but I've got the red. I was talking about sports a while ago. And I love sports. I love all sports, but there's one I just don't understand, and that is automobile racing. Car racing just escapes me. People pay good money to go sit in a grandstand and watch cars go by. I may be stupid, but wouldn't it be cheaper to just drag a deck chair out to the freeway? Yeah, those are cars going by. We're having fun now. And people think it's so dangerous and exciting. I mean, those are expert drivers in finely tuned automobiles on perfectly groomed tracks. I mean, if they want danger and excitement, put them on the freeway. Put them out there with lousy drivers and cars that haven't seen a mechanic in years. Put them out there with commuters. Thousands of disgruntled office workers mad because they can't use the diamond lanes. Put them down in Los Angeles where they have bumper stickers that say, "Cover me, I'm going to pass." Now we're talking danger and excitement. I pay to see that. The Freeway 500. It's a beautiful day at the track. The racers are lined up, the commuters are lined up, the lousy drivers are lined up, and there's the green flag, and they're off. Whoa, Johnny Andretti just got cut off by a long-haul trucker, buzzed to the eyeballs on no-dose and Jolt Cola. Dale Earnhardt missed his exit and was lost on the San Pedro interchange. Ernie Irvin is trapped behind a Winnebago in the left lane. Emerson Fittipaldi just got run off the road by a woman using a rear-view mirror to redo her makeup. They're coming out of turn 2, and Dale Jarrett can't hear his pit crew. He's trapped between two lowriders with Dolby sound. Jeff Gordon's airbag just went off accidentally. He's taken out 3 porta potties at a rest stop. Michael Schumacher is battling a drive-by shooter, had to stop to reload. Cole Trickle is surrounded by 50 paparazzi who think he's a movie star. Darrell Waltrip just got sideswiped by a sleep-deprived country singer in a Greyhound band bus. And they're coming down to the finish. And it's, oh, Ricky Rudd just got hit by a kayak that blew off the roof rack of a 4x4. Richard Petty is trapped in the pits. He doesn't have $1 for the homeless guys who did his windshield. Ted Musgrave just got his doors blown off by a frantic parent racing to get to daycare before the overtime kicks in. And they're coming down to the finish. It's the racers, the commuters, the lousy drivers. It's the race, and there's the winner, a housewife from Modesto racing to a closeout sale at Kmart. Going to do a Russian folk song now. That's pretty much what I do best. Russian folk music. Tales have been told of the czars of old in the glory days of Russia. Ivan the Terrible, Peter the Great, all had a rendezvous with fate, but history can be rotten, and some folks are forgotten. You've all heard of Peter the Great, but who remembers Ivan the Mediocre? And his wife, Katrina the Weird. Together they represented 400 years of inbreeding. They're about 40 kopecks short of a ruble. Made the British royal family look like a think tank. British people don't find that funny. But Ivan didn't care. He had great plans for Russia. He wanted to build a new capital city of Russia. Call it St. Ivansburg. Katrina wanted to name it after the peasants. Call it Surf City. Ivan refused. Katrina got mad, ripped off all her clothes, and rode through Moscow side saddle. Half the people were yelling, "Hooray for our side!" But then Ivan got caught stealing 60 billion rubles from the state treasury. Well over $37. That's when their children, the Tsardines, rose up and overthrew Ivan. He fled to Siberia. They ended up working on the Trans-Siberian Railway. They wrote a song about him called Ivan Working on a Railroad. Sadly, he died a pauper's death, which really made the pauper happy. But it made Katrina mad. She came back and overthrew the children. Yes, the Tsardines got canned. Oh, in every deck there is a joker. Ivan, mediocre. There's a rule in show business. You have to end with something big and spectacular and wild and crazy. And I think one of the great joys in life is to break the rules. And so tonight I'd like to end with kind of a soft, gentle song. It's time for me to end this show. I'd like to say it's been a ball. There are lots of ways to say goodbye. Tonight I'd like to use them all. It's time to go, and if you see me on the street, feel free to come up and talk to me. I'm happy to talk to people, happy to tell you about my deep personal problems, my recent diseases, my operations. I'll be happy to talk about that. What's that? My divorce. Yeah, I'll tell you about my divorce. A lot of comedians try to be funny 24 hours a day, and I don't do that. A lot of people are disappointed when they talk to me, and I'm not funny, but this is about it for me. I can do an hour and a half, and then But I will talk about things other people avoid. I'll talk about politics, religion, any of that stuff, because I'm getting older now and I don't care. I'd like to thank my ex-partner. I had a partner for about 5 years ago, and he was the total opposite of me. He was just wild and zany and crazy and off the wall, just everywhere. And we split up after a while because it just didn't work. And he got out of show business. I understand he's now the Vice President of the United States. Gotta go. I'd like to leave you with the thought that has bothered me for a long time. The first person to eat an oyster had to be the hungriest person in the history of the world. I would have eaten the shell first before I'd eaten. I'd like to leave you with a couple questions that bother me. If you're a knight in shining armor, what do you do when you see an electrical storm approaching? I've always wondered about that. I think that's where statues come from. Got another question. There are a lot of parents here. I'd like to ask you this. How can you have two kids in the same family turn out to be totally different? That has always bothered me. I mean, one of them's a Rhodes Scholar and the other one's a total deadbeat. Same parents, same family, same school, same everything. It's just amazing. I was talking to my brother the other day, the Rhodes Scholar. Well, I've got to go. If this were Las Vegas, the band would be blaring, the dancers would be flying across the stage, there'd be smoke pots and lasers and flag drops and people screaming. I find that way too expensive. I won't pay that kind of money for a standing ovation. I prefer to use something simple and quiet and pure, like bribery. Time to go, what can I say? It's time for me to end it. Besides, they gave me all my pay. Let's go out and spend it. Thank you very much. It's been a great night.